Hi, good afternoon. My name is Santiago de Portillo. I am the Kensington Security Category Manager, and we're here with Jon Yang, which he is the IT Administrator for ACCO. Hi, Jon. How are you?
Hi, Santiago. Yeah, good, thank you. Not too bad.
Thank you, Jon. Thank you for taking this time. So, Jon, I would just like to ask you some questions. I know you're a user for Vermark IT, and I was just wondering, I bet you have been trying a lot of different solutions in the past for authentication, but now that you have switched to our solution from Vermark, I would like to ask you, were your pain points before having Vermark IT, and how did Vermark IT solve them?
Yeah, good question. So I guess prior to using Verimark, one of the issues we had is, or I had personally, and many people in IT had, was that you would put in your admin credentials several times a day, at least, and I found I was putting in my admin credentials, but it's separate to my normal credentials, at least 2 to 3 times a day, sometimes even more. So it became very sort of repetitive, frustrating. I have to keep repeating myself. So what I did with Verimark IT is I kind of then had created like a finger print on the Verimark device, which allowed me to use my admin account on my one finger and my regular account on my other finger. So essentially now I'm able to log into my PC normally with my normal finger, and with my admin finger, as I call it, I would log in with my admin account, and then that gets me into certain things that I need my admin account credentials for, and it just saved me quite a lot of time and effort and repetitive tasks.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. I mean, just to show users, I mean, Vermark IT is a very small device. I mean, we have different types. We have this one is USB-A. We are launching this one, which is a USB-C device. Very small, as you can see. It can be, you can fit in a pocket and you can walk around in your keychain with it. So, yeah, I understand those pain points. I are very familiar with those for IT admins. And it's great that we were able to suggest a solution for you and you're able to just log in faster and more efficiently at your job. Now, if I were to ask you, what were the 3 top reasons you would suggest biometric fingerprint authentication instead of a password to users? What would those be?
Top 3 reasons, probably one, remove the need for repetitive password typing. So every time I just put my fingerprint, I don't need to keep typing my password in many times. That's number one. Number 2, I guess it allows me to have a more complex admin password, because I can make it more complex because I don't have to keep putting it in constantly. I use it very rarely because most of the time it's my fingerprint. So that's probably the second one, that complexity thing. And the third and final one is probably the ability, particularly with the Verimark IT, that I can pick up that device and I can plug it into another user's computer. So say I'm working on a temporary machine supporting a user, I could plug it into their machine and use my fingerprint on there. Because the fingerprint is stored on the device, I don't need to load my fingerprint on somebody else's device, which makes it not very useful. But by having the Verimark IT have the fingerprint on the device, makes it really easy to use on other people.
Yeah, that's very good feedback, and that's what our customers have seen also. The ones that have been using Verimark IT have also expressed the same different reasons why using a Verimark solution. Now, how easy was it to set up? I know some people are scared of how hard it is to set up a new peripheral for your computer, and you're scared of breaking things. But how easy was to do it? I understand that there's some record set that you have to do before you install the Vermark IT on your computer. But was it easy for you, or do you have a hard time?
Yeah, ultimately it was pretty easy. There is some settings you need to make sure are turned on in the policy. A link to Windows Hello settings, make sure it's not disabled, that sort of thing. But as long as that they're enabled correctly, it's as simple as it would be on a typical phone, perhaps with an iPhone, where you put your finger on it several times until it's captured your finger. You link it to your password you put in one time, and then suddenly that password is linked to that fingerprint, and you can have multiple fingers if you want, a backup finger. And again, if you've got multiple accounts like IT person has with a regular account and admin account, you can use different fingers for different accounts. So it's really useful, really easy to set up.
That's very good. Yes, thank you, Jon. I know some customers use this Vermark solution also at home. Do you see yourself using one of these at home for your daily life?
Yes, actually, right now, because of the current situation, I've been working from home for the last few months, and I've carried on using it at home. Obviously, there's less picking it out of my machine and putting it in somebody else's machine, but I use it at the moment several times a day when I'm opening Device Manager or other components, so it pops up for admin credentials. I just put my fingerprint on it and I'm in. So yeah, absolutely using it at home, no problem.
Perfect. Thank you, John. Yes, you can actually have different fingers on the fingerprint solution, and depending on which devices you're using it with, you can use it for logging to different devices and services as well. Well, John, thank you so much for this time. If you have any other suggestion for our customers, or that will be all.
Yeah, no, that's great. I just just don't forget which is your finger. This is my regular finger. This is my admin finger. Don't get them mixed up.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.